just one game, but Rutgers basketball finally showing some signs of life in a 75-68 must-win over UCLA at the Rack on Monday night. And it was an encouraging performance. Obviously, Rutgers on a 3-game losing streak coming in coincides with Dylan Harper having a bad case of the flu. And really, the way this team came out, I mean, they struggled in the beginning. I love that Pikiell shook things up with the lineup. He made some serious changes tonight, not just with the starting lineup, but the rotation overall. Didn't necessarily work perfectly in that first half. Rutgers struggled. They shot pretty poorly. They were trailing most of the first half. They were down 3 at the half, 33-30. And then they came out with purpose and played connected in that second half, with Dylan Harper being Dylan Harper that he is, dominating that kind of opening stretch, having back-to-back threes, really getting Rutgers off to a great start in that second half. And I just thought, as a team, they just played smart in that second half. Not perfect, but their togetherness on the court, they finally looked like they were having fun. Pikiell going with the 4 freshmen down the stretch. Dylan Grant getting a lot of run in this game. There's a lot to talk about. But I just thought they played with passion, and their stars made plays. Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper were the best 2 players on the court tonight, I thought. And that's the difference. And when they are the 2 best players on the court, they haven't been nearly as often as we thought they would. But when they are, it's going to be tough to beat Rutgers. But all that being said, everyone that played for Rutgers tonight contributed in some way. And that was huge as well. And that was a big part of why they won. Pikiell really changing things up. He started Dylan Grant, Somerville, Ace, Acuff, and Dylan Harper. And, Grant has really just emerged here these last 3 games. In this game, he got his most run yet, 24 minutes. Not a ton of gaudy stats. He hit a 3, just 3 points, 2 rebounds. He did have a couple of turnovers, but had 2 blocks. And he makes them so much better defensively. He has a natural feel for how to play defense, and he's picking up the system. And, I know there's been some criticism. What I'd like to, I don't know if I haven't seen the press conference. I'm a little bit on delay here, getting my kids to bed and then watching the rest of the game after. I don't know if anyone's asked Pikiell this yet, but Dylan Grant, he didn't play high school ball last year. So I'm wondering how much of that impacted his ability to contribute at the start of the season versus now. But he obviously gets what this team needs on the defensive end. He's always, he's in really good position. He rotates well. He made some real standout defensive plays in this game. And it just brings him a certain toughness, a certain edge. He has length to him. He brings real value. And, he plays within himself. He doesn't try to do too much on offense. He's hit threes, I think, in all 3 games now that he's played, the last 3. So he could, and also he's comfortable spacing outside on the perimeter. I noticed that a lot tonight. He doesn't need to stay in the paint. He can get out on the perimeter. And again, he hit another 3 tonight. So I just thought that his contributions were key, although the stats were not huge. Acuff had a kind of a quiet game, but he was kind of a stabilizing force there, handling the rock a lot of times, taking some pressure off of Dylan. He did hit a key 3 at some point. Not a lot of stats from him. Had 1 assist, no turnovers, just 15 minutes. But again, he's a veteran presence that knows how to play. They have better feel as a team out there with Grant and Acuff getting more minutes right now. Somerville's a dog. He plays super hard. He hits some big free throws down the stretch. Was really good on the boards tonight. 6 points, 9 rebounds, 8 of the defensive variety, at a block and a steal, 24 minutes. He just plays super hard. And now it's time to really praise Ace Bailey, because I was so impressed with how he played tonight. In my opinion, yes, the Indiana game was a highlight reel that will be played forever and was the most dynamic offensive performance we've seen in a long time. But as a complete basketball performance, Ace Bailey, this was his best game in a Rutgers uniform. He he proved so much tonight. I thought he looked like a guy that read that Matt Norlander article last week that was very critical of Ace and Dillon and Rutgers overall, which, listen, was justified. But he looked like a man possessed tonight. He played great defensively. He played with passion. He had 3 blocks. He was just he was in it defensively. He started to sag off, he would clog the lane and kind of sag off his man. He was starting to learn help side defense. He was attacking shooters with the way in which, he had a block on the perimeter. He wasn't selling out on defense at all. He had a great turnover and then passed down the court to Grant on a fast break. He was a willing passer tonight. He played like a complete star. He made some huge shots. He made that ridiculous corner 3 when UCLA cut it to 2 late. He made a big time 3 there. He was 7 of 13 from the field. That was his only 3 of the night. But 5 of 5 from the free throw line after really struggling in the last few games. He looked like he'd been working out there. 10 rebounds. He did it all tonight. And what I loved with his passion, that timeout with about a minute to go, Ace was just he was very active in the huddle. He was talking to every player. He was animated. He looked like he was so invested in the game, and he cares. He cares. And Ace Bailey carrying and doing what it takes to win basketball games for this team is what they need. They need it desperately. And I was super encouraged. Out of all the performances tonight, his was the most encouraging. Dillon, really took over in that second half to set the tone. He had 12 second half points. Ace had 14 second half points. And Dillon overall, in this game, 18 points, 5 of 13 from the floor, just 2 of 7 from 3, 6 of 8 from the line, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Did have 4 turnovers and 4 fouls. He was saddled with foul trouble, but that was key. He didn't foul out. I thought Pikiell managed his time pretty well. Put him in with about 6 minutes to go with 4 fouls, and Dillon stayed in the game, which was huge. He also had a block and a steal. So he still, I thought he kind of ran out of gas at the end, his legs. But listen, he was getting downhill. He was creating action. I have to say, offensively, overall as a team, they shared the ball much better tonight. They ran a lot more sets. They were screening a lot more. That UCLA really frustrated Dillon early on with kind of double teaming him. They played smart. They played with a purpose on offense. Jay Will, huge game for him, huge bounce back. Responded like a true captain does, getting benched, not starting tonight, and coming off the bench, giving them big minutes, 26 minutes, plus 9 on the night, 11 points, 5 of 7 from the field, had an assist, a rebound, and a steal. But that huge baseline bucket with the game on the line, he played under control. He had some huge drives in that second half and really gave them that third scorer that they desperately need. And that's exactly what this team needs from him on a consistent basis. And he provided it tonight. And credit to him for not sulking, for not taking the benching personally, and stepping up and playing really well. Played well defensively as well. Jermichael Davis, interesting enough, PJ Hayes didn't play again tonight. Durkak did not play at all. From what I understand, it's the coach's decision. He wasn't on the availability report. I don't know if Pikiell talked about it in the postgame. But Davis and Durkak, they obviously are strong defensively. They've both struggled offensively. I think the key differentiator right now is that Davis does not typically turn it over. I know he has a tendency to drive and kind of get stuffed. But in terms of, statistically, analytically, turnover rate, Davis is elite. He's, one of the leaders in the country in terms of turnover rate, pretty low in terms of turnover rate, where, Durkak does struggle with turning the ball over. So tonight they gave Davis the minutes and they did not play Durkak. And I thought Davis responded really well. I thought he played with himself. He was able to beat the press several times. He split the press late. He was looking for his teammates. He was 4 of 4 from the line, which again is big for him too. He's a 50-something% free throw shooter. He had 3 rebounds in this game, and he's been the worst rebounder on the team so far. Had a steal, did have a few fouls, but overall I thought he kept the ball moving. He didn't force it too much. He gave him some quality minutes. Zach Martini, plus 11 team high in 13 minutes, hit a big three early, and just played smart. He played better defense tonight. He got a key rebound late. Again, everyone contributed who was in the game. Egbole looked a little fired up coming off the bench as well. 4 points, 5 rebounds. He fought in there. He created some problems for UCLA. I mean, in terms of, their leading scorer, Bilodeau, he really struggled. He was 0-7 from the floor at 6 points, all from the free throw line late in the game. Pikiell shortening the rotation, only playing 9 guys, and all 9 guys contributed tonight in this victory. Rutgers making their last 3 field goals. Ace had a 3. J-Will had that baseline drive. Ace had that late bucket. And they came through in the clutch. They were up 9 with about, 6 minutes to go. Rutgers was up 9, 61-52 with 5:48 to play. UCLA came storming back with a NATO run, and it was 63-62 with 2 minutes to go. Rutgers did not fold. They outscored them down the stretch, 12-6. Made some key free throws, made some key buckets, and this team got a huge, huge boost here. Finally, this team needed positive momentum so badly. They finally got it. They were 12-16 at the rim tonight. That's really, strong. They had 7 blocks as a team. Again, Ace had 3, Grant had 2, Somerville had 1, Dylan had 1. 5 steals in this game. They didn't turn it over a ton, which was important. They won the rebounding battle, 37-29 plus 8. That's huge for them. Just 10 turnovers. UCLA just 9. But this is on a night where Rutgers was just 68% from the line, 21-31, just 6-20, 30% from 3. But they shot much better in that second half, 56.5% from the field in that second half, including 4-9 from 3. They were 15-21 from the line, 71%. This team came to play in the second half. They righted the ship. Again, it's just 1 game, but this is a big, big start, right? Now you're 2-4, 9-8. You go on the road now at Nebraska Thursday night. Huge opportunity. Their next 7 games are quad 1 opportunities. This ended up being a quad 2 game. UCLA now was 32nd coming in after being quad 1 for most of the season. Rutgers now 3-0 against quad 2 opponents, 0-6 against quad 1 opponents. Now, you need quad 1 opponents, but it should be noted that the NCAA tournament, they do match quad 1 and quad 2 together for a metric as well. And right now they have 2 quad 3 losses. So no quad 4 losses at the moment. Listen, Rutgers has so much work to do. It's still not looking good. They're still in danger of not even making the Big Ten tournament. However, you got to start somewhere. And I thought the way in which this team played together tonight, the rotation change that Pikiell made, how hard they played, defensively, they were much better. They rebounded. They played really hard tonight. And Ace and Dylan were the best 2 players on the court, and you got contributions from everybody else. This is the formula. They don't have to be this, perfect team, but they have to do the nitty-gritty work that you saw them do tonight. Diving on the floor, making winning plays. And you saw a lot of that tonight. Now they go to Nebraska on Thursday. Then they go to Penn State next Monday. You got to split at least. You got to start getting some road wins here. You got to start getting some quad 1 wins. This team goes on the road now. This is a big homestand. They only went 1-2. Bad luck with Dylan Harper being sick. He finally is, looking like he's rounding into form. If they're going to catch lightning in a bottle, it's got to happen now. And I thought it wasn't just that they won tonight. The way in which they won, the way in which they played together gives a little bit of hope. I'm not, getting crazy here and saying the season's going to turn around just like that. But there were signs tonight that gave you hope that, you know what? I mean, if anything, my biggest hope for this team is just go down with a fight. Go down swinging. Do not go down with a whimper. And tonight would have essentially eliminated them, and they would have gone down with a whimper. And they didn't do that. They showed up in a big way. They responded. And again, I thought the way that the 4 freshmen and J-Will on the court at the end, they had energy. They looked like they were playing with joy. They were finally having fun. They were passionate. They gave a shit, for a lack of eloquence here on a Monday night. They looked like they really cared. And that's what's going to be the difference from them either folding or trying to get back into this thing here. That's the key. And again, that was encouraging tonight. They're now up to 85 on Ken Palm after coming into the game on 90. UCLA was 35 in Ken Palm. It's their best one of the year. 35th is UCLA. Penn State's 50. Notre Dame's 75. I think Notre Dame won tonight. They beat Boston College at home by 18 points. So, Boston College is not good at all. So they needed to win that. But just in terms of Rutgers, a much-needed victory, much-needed boost of morale for not only the team, but the fan base. Fan comments have been brutal out there. But a lot of the criticism is warranted. It's just some of the kind of the deep end stuff. Don't need to get into it now. Enjoy the win. Rutgers with a big opportunity on Thursday night. If they can play disconnected, play this tough defensively, play with purpose on offense as they did in this game. They showed some press tonight. They were effective at times. But I just thought the offensive cohesiveness was so much better tonight. And Ace was a willing driver as well as a willing passer. Criticized him after the last game. Too many, just not even trying to drive. He really made an effort tonight, and that was obvious. Can't say enough about Ace Bailey's performance. Super encouraging. Just a complete performance from him. Dylan looking more like himself. J-Will being the third cog that this team desperately needs. Defense, rebounding. This was a Steve Pikiell-like team tonight. It was great to see. Thanks so much for listening and watching once again here at the Scarlet Faithful podcast.